Hey everybody, I'm just going to do a really quick mini lesson here on how to add and subtract integers to remind you of what you did in your notes. In your notes I tried to give you a couple different tips and tricks. For example, I showed you two different positive and negative integers going to battle in a mountain, I believe, in your notes. I might have showed you kind of using counters or how to pair things up. And then at the end I kind of just gave you the procedure or the rule for adding integers. One of the other things you can do is if you search on YouTube or Google it, you'll find plenty of catchy songs that will help you learn your adding and subtracting integer rules. One of the ones that I tend to really focus on and use is the one that goes to the tune of Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And that one says that same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. I didn't think it was going to take up this much space on my whiteboard, but same signs add and keep. This goes to the tune of Row, Row Your Boat, and I'm not a singer, so I'm not going to sing it to you, but you could sing this. Same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. So for example, we've been adding like this since we were little. 3 plus 4 equals 7. Both signs are the same. They're both positive. And so my answer, we just add the two numbers and we keep, what I mean by keep is keep the sign. In this case, I have two positive numbers, same signs. Add them, 3 plus 4, and keep the positive, which there is no symbol for positive. We just write the number. 3 plus 4 is 7. If we changed this to -3 and -4, we again have same sign. So we're going to add 3 plus 4 and get 7, but we're going to keep the negative symbol, which in this case makes our answer -7. So -3 plus -4 is equal to -7. That part seems pretty straightforward. This is the part that gets a little tricky. Once we get past that part of the song where we've got same signs, add, and keep, then we've got this idea of different signs. So for example, if I have -7 plus 2, when we have different signs, we subtract. So we subtract their absolute values here. 7 minus 2 is 5. And we keep the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value. That's what I'm talking about when I say higher number here. That just flows better with the song. But it's really the higher absolute value. In this case, -7 has a higher absolute value than 2. -7 is further away from 0 on the number line. I have more negatives than positives, and so my final answer is -5. Different signs subtract. So a negative and a positive, I do 7 minus 2 is 5. Keep the sign of the higher number, in this case that's negative, then you'll be exact. So same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. Let's do one more with different signs. For example, we may have something like 10 plus -3. Again, signs are not the same. Signs are different. So we're going to subtract. 10 minus 3 is 7. Keep the sign of the higher number. In this case, the great number with the greatest absolute value is actually +10. And so my answer on this one is going to be +7. A visual of this, we could say we have 10 positives. And then if we add 3 negatives to it, we've got 1, 2, 3, 0 pairs that cancel out, and I'm left with 7 positive counters here. And so that's why this works. There's a little visual for you. Different signs subtract, keep the sign of the higher number. There are 7 positives still left. Then you'll be exact. So this was our adding rules. These were our adding integer rules. After we did adding, then we moved on to subtracting. And we actually, what we did with subtracting, we used the rule copy, change, change, or the 3 C's for adding integers. And then after we copy, change, changed, we used our adding rules. So the adding rules are super duper important that we commit to memory eventually, not necessarily today, but eventually we do need to commit these to memory because once we copy, change, change, the second change changes subtraction to addition, and then we have to follow our adding rules to do this. So anytime you see subtraction, you'll use copy, change, change, and then use your adding rules. So let's do a couple examples together. For example, if I start out with -5 minus -6, the copy, change, change rule says that I'm going to copy -5, I'm going to change subtraction to addition, and then I'm going to change -6 to +6. The other rule that I've learned in the past, which you may or may not like better, is keep, add the opposite. So some people like to do keep, add the opposite, and they just like do it all right here. So they've got -5 plus +6. Either way works. I don't care which method you like better or which saying you like better. It's totally up to you. I tend to use copy, change, change in most of my notes and things. But either one works. And now we're going to use our adding rules. Same signs add and keep, but these ones aren't the same. We are different. We've got negative and a positive. Different signs subtract. So 6 minus 5 is 1. Keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. In this case, the number with the greater absolute value is +6. So my answer is +1. And so -5, originally this is what we had, -5 minus -6 is actually +1. So I can show you how this works. We've got 5 negatives, and if we're going to take away 6 negatives, we actually have to add a 0 pair here. And when we take away those 6 negatives that I have now, I'm left with this 1 positive. And so there's kind of your little visual for why this works. Let's do a couple more examples of these subtracting integers, though. Let's do 7 minus 10. When you see this, you may think, oh, that's 3. I've done that before. However, order matters. In this case, the smaller number is first. 10 minus 7, that is 3. But 7 minus 10 is not 3. We're going to have to use our copy, change, change rules, or keep, add the opposite. So copy the 7, change subtraction to addition, and change +10 to -10. Then we use our addition rules. These have different signs, so if you go through your song, same signs, add and keep, different signs, subtract. 10 minus 7 is 3. Keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. In this case, the higher number is 10. It has a greater absolute value, so my answer is negative. 7 minus 10, if I have 7 positive markers, and I'm trying to take 10 of them away, I'm actually going to have to create 3 more 0 pairs to give myself 10 positives. And once I take those 10 positives away, here are my 3 negatives that I'm left with. So you can kind of see that visual there of how that works. Let's do 2 more really quickly here. Let's do -6 minus 2. Again, my rule is copy, change the subtraction to addition, and change +2 to -2. Now I have -6 plus +2, and I'm going to use my adding rules. Same signs, add and keep. So these ones do have the same sign. 6 plus 2 is 8. Keep this, and we keep the sign, which is negative on both. And so I've got -8. In this case, I've got -6, and we're going to subtract 2 positives, so I'm going to make 2 more 0 pairs. And when I get rid of those 2 positives, I'm left with 8 negatives, and so that's why that rule works. One more problem that we'll do, and then I'll be done with my mini lesson. I'm going to do 4 minus -5. Keep, change, change. We're going to keep the 4, or copy the 4, copy, change, change. Change subtraction to addition, and then change -5 to +5. Now 4 plus 5, we've been doing this since we were little. 4 plus 5 is 9. And again, same signs, we add 4 plus 5 and keep the positive sign, which is 9. So 4 minus -5 is equal to 9. So use your notes as you go through today's e-lesson to help you remember these rules. You have your adding and subtracting integer notes, and then the back, or the next page, was a little cheat sheet. Have that cheat sheet out to help you. I don't necessarily want you to have the rules memorized today, but by quiz day later on, I will want you to have those rules memorized, and test day you will. So go ahead and hit the next button at the bottom of your screen to go to your IXL practice today.